All right, turning now to something all Americans need to complete, and as soon as possible, the US Census. In the middle of the pandemic, the Trump administration has quietly moved up the deadline to finish the once-a-decade survey. There's concern tonight that that could lead to an undercount. Joining us now is the former director of the US Census Bureau, John Thompson, who served until June of 2017. Thanks so much for your time. Now, you ran the 2000 census and worked in the Bureau for 27 years. First off, for everyone who may not be aware, walk us through why the census is so important and why an accurate count of who lives where is so critical for our government.
Certainly. So the decennial census has a constitutional purpose to reapportion the House of Representatives. The data are used to draw national congressional voting districts, local voting districts. The results are used to allocate over $1.5 trillion per year of federal funding to various localities. And the census is just a valuable resource for state, city, and local planners, and businesses use it to make informed decisions about where to start companies, who to hire. The big issue is that if there are errors or undercounts or overcounts for that matter in the decennial census, then, and take 2020 for example, then those errors would be with us for 10 years until you could take the 2030 census.
And what do those errors mean in a very practical sense?
If you're an area and you suffer an undercount, then you will get less than your fair share of federal funds. You might not get your full representation in the Congress, so it has a real effect.
And obviously, it's a major challenge to conduct a census in the middle of a pandemic. Now, before COVID-19 hit, the count was supposed to be finished by the end of July. Well, the administration pushed that to October 30th, but then yesterday announced they were moving it to September 30th. Roughly 4 in 10 households still have not responded. So are you worried that they won't be able to count everyone within the next 2 months?
I am extremely concerned that the Census Bureau is going to be forced to cut corners or take shortcuts. Career people at the Census Bureau had initially laid out a plan that said we're going to need from April 11th to the end of October to do the enumeration, and then to do all the processing it takes to make the data available. They wanted to extend to April 31st of 2021.
Now, the Supreme Court denied the administration's attempt to add a citizenship question to the census, but recently the president issued a policy memorandum directing the Census Bureau to exclude undocumented immigrants from data used to decide congressional representation. You testified alongside other former heads of the Census Bureau last week. Are you worried this memorandum, regardless of its legality, will lead to an undercount of our most vulnerable communities?
So I'm very concerned that the issuance of that memorandum will increase the fears and concerns of many of the traditionally hard-to-count populations, that their data will not be kept confidential, and in return, they will be very difficult to get to participate in the 2020 census, and that will lead to undercounts.
And lastly, if we take a step back, obviously we're in unprecedented territory here with the pandemic. But if the Census Bureau numbers produce a U.S. population that's millions less than the 2010 census, what's the recourse here?
My former director colleagues and I have recommended that the Congress commission an independent and objective entity organization that can develop some metrics, if you will, or measures in advance of the 2020 census that can be used to determine if, in fact, the 2020 census apportionment counts are fit for use.
Mr. Thompson, we thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.